Oh, the one.
Yeah, have you seen the Lego Office Week? Welcome back to the Cali Brick Clique, where we have your host today. Shy Time is my time.
Okay.
Ninja with the brick, and today our guest is Stud City as well. And if you'll notice, I don't sound like the plastic architect. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that she's not here. I'm Holly from Holly on Film, because each week we're gonna have a special guest over the next couple of weeks because Claire got married. Not that, I mean, I know this is a podcast, but I have a visual reference here. So really, I'm off to a fantastic start as her podcast host. But be sure to check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and anywhere you find your podcast. But hello, everyone. How are we doing? How was my intro? Rated out of 10.
Still better than my intros.
It was solid.
It was good.
It was natural.
Good start. Well, welcome, Stud City. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm really happy to be here. So I really appreciate the invite. And always when a podcast come up, talk about Lego, it's like two of my favorite things, right? So how can I decline? Thanks for having me, and let's get on into it.
Well, if you're not familiar with Stud City, if you like these large, giant collections, that is, I guess, by blood his. He's well known for this, but also he does a lot of like Lego kind of buying and stuff like that. So we'll definitely get into him for a little bit. So right quick, who are you?
My name is Christo from Stud City, right? And I kind of have a mix of content. I know people are like, oh, your uncle's collection made you. That's fair, right? I'm not going to take that away. But there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, right? My uncle's awesome. He's probably one of the best people I've known. And for him to be seen on social media, he's like really like progressed my channels, but progressed him as a person as well. So it's been awesome. And it kind of gave us a chance to click in something. I know we both really enjoy Lego, right? But he enjoys building, and I more enjoy content side of it and kind of networking and meeting people. That's what really inspired me. And he's kind of the opposite. He just loves building. So that kind of brought us together in a way. But as far as my channel, I do cover his collection stuff. I do enjoy building, live streams, and then, of course, going over our favorite thing, which is Lego investing. Because like Lego, I'm really enjoy investing. I combine the two. It's like you had like the perfect baby. So that's kind of a little bit backstory on me.
What's your Lego story then?
So my Lego story kind of kicked off in my college days. So I was coming off a Division I athletic career. I know. Probably when that's a shocker. I probably no one knows that. Yeah,
I want to know what was it.
I played football, the real football. So
soccer football or American football?
Soccer
He
football.
said the real.
Okay,
good.
Yeah, football. Yeah.
Finally, some respect out here.
But coming out of that career, and there was kind of like a void, and that was like a realization that was slowly coming to an end. And I was just so beat up and like tired that I was like, I don't want to do this forever. And there was a few things that kind of pushed me over the edge, but age always is one of them. So the Lego kind of just one day walking through a Walmart, 1 a.m, back before pandemic, the good old days when things were open till 2, 3 a.m. I just came across, I think one of the first sets was like Speed Champions, and me and like a roommate picked up a few of the Speed Champion sets. Like immediately we went back to our rooms and our apartments, just started building them, and like we just had a kicker of a time. And that kind of kicked things off. We started going on Facebook Marketplace and just buying sets, Star Wars, Lego modulars, Lego trains, and like we just turned our apartment into something chaotic. And then we're like, okay, we should step back here and get a little bit more uniform, focus on a couple themes. So we just started building, and then we kind of got into doing some social media a little bit on like live streams. But essentially the building aspect was just something like we kind of did together. We were both stepping away from like soccer. I'm going to call it soccer, it's really football. But for those of you watching, we kind of filled that void right there. Like we didn't go and get like part-time jobs. Like instead we did something a little bit better. We started building Lego in college when you're at like your brokest times. So we really kicked it off that way. We started meeting people in the community, and it really sucked us in. I think like, me more the sense I got sucked in farther, right? I started meeting people in the community. I think one of like the first people I met was Brother from Another Brick, which was so fortunate, right? He was so open-armed, and he just really pulled such a niche like group together, and I really enjoyed the people more than I even enjoyed building. So that kind of just kickstarted things so much farther than I would have expected. I just never really had such a community that was so close and caring, aside from like my culture side. Like, so I am a Greek American, coming from Greece and stuff, right? That culture is extremely close, and they're so giving and stuff. But aside from being Greek and associating with like basically my family and close family friends, this community's kind of like done the same thing. And for me, I've never seen a community like that. So you look at like the sneaker community or in the investing community, it's always like a competition or like a battle, a one-up, battling the Jonesons, right? Everything, everywhere for I've never met a community that was, similar to like my cultures. And for me, that Lego community was like that, is people caring about one another. They didn't want to disrespect you. They wanted to, help you in anywhere form. They just wanted to see you thrive and be successful and let alone just be happy. And I think being happy and enjoying things, that's what it was all about, and kind of just stuck me around. Just pause there.
It's interesting as well, because it's like the complete opposite, I guess, of where you came from, doing a lot of sport growing up, where it's such a competitive atmosphere and everyone's trying to outdo each other. People are trying to get to the professional level and make it to the Premier League and all that type of thing. Like, how was that shift, like going from such a competitive atmosphere all throughout college to just suddenly like being really supportive of one another?
One, it was different. Let alone just completely the opposite of the spectrum. You're going from like training multiple times a day, right? 5 a.m. your trainings, and then you go to classes from after trainings straight into more trainings and workouts and all that kind of stuff. It hit me hard, and that like I want to say it was just maybe a few weeks or something before I kind of like found Lego in the community. What it seems like. It might have been longer, but trainings it was catching up to me. You'd get up at mornings, 5 a.m. You'd go to class straight after, still sweaty and stuff. You didn't even have a chance to shower. And then from there, you would go back to training, and, your sleep schedule, you're stressed out with school. It wasn't a great lifestyle, and I loved it. It's the only language I spoke. Football was a language I spoke from probably birth until, my early 20s. So like maybe like 20, 21 years old. And then from that point forward, when things kind of shifted with my university, it filled right in. It was kind of flawless in a sense, just because that community made me feel happy again. And that was what it was. That was the trigger, right? That's what kept you. They made you feel happy. It's like, okay, life can be a little bit more enjoyable again. You can go on trips still. You can go to conventions, meet more people that are, like-minded, right? That are enjoying this. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest transitions there.
Do you still play?
Okay, so I only play if my cousins play. Like my cousins will call me and they'll say, or my friends that I grew up with, and that's the only time I find enjoyment. Because for me, I don't want to play where it's like, oh, we want to win. There's a tournament. It's worth $10,000 or whatever. I don't want to play it because I know where that goes. Then it's like, okay, the next weekend there's another tournament, and the next for me the money's not worth it. Let alone it's just not worth it to me. But if my cousins or some of my best friends called me and said, hey, there's this tournament, come play, I would, because I would enjoy it. And that's what it is. And they're all out of shape anyway, so I'd still be the best one there.
Putting the hobby aspect back into your hobby, essentially. Like, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's a certain point, like with whatever you do in life, if you find something that starts as a hobby or a love or a passion, and then it starts to become monetized, and then all of a sudden it starts to become like more serious, then you kind of lose the fire of why you're originally doing it. And it's cool to see someone. I mean, that works for YouTube too. So Holly, you could definitely speak to that. But,
absolutely.
But like going from, having the fun of playing football from a very young age to, almost it could have been a career path for you. Probably still can be if you really, really put yourself to it. But like to step away, take a breather, remember like why you love what you're doing. Or like it doesn't have to be a hobby. It could be like your way of life. Like football could be your way of life. And just to keep that flame lit, sometimes you just have to step away. But on the YouTube side, especially in the Lego world, a lot of us started this for fun. We got into the hobby with buying Lego in very most simplest ways. And then eventually we started getting more, and then started filming it, started getting growth. And then all of a sudden it becomes a job, Holly.
Yes. It does. I mean, I've had like a similar case a couple of times. I feel like when it came to Lego, like I know, like while I was an ambassador, like I'm constantly, or at least especially in my early days, right? Like I'm trying to grow, I'm trying to post a lot. And to me, it felt like I need to share everything I have. Like I need to live stream every single build. I need to do a post on everything and really get the most amount of money out of it. And I had a similar case where I was just like, I felt burnt out. I was like, I'm not getting the same enjoyment out of building a set as I used to. So I like started to just do more off the side and not worry about posting everything. And like even over the last like couple of weeks, like I finally had like a proper like three days off where I just like didn't do anything, partially because I had no cell service for those 3 days, but also like everyone I like wanted to, I guess, like be around was in one location. So I actually got to take a break. And I think that was really important. And like, even I guess like now that you have a new hobby and like posting Lego, like make sure to take those breaks. Like that is the best piece of advice I guess I can give anyone who does start to get into it. Like make sure you're building stuff just for you. And like I always found it very therapeutic. So if you can take time just to relax and unwind, or don't worry about sharing everything, just so that you don't have that same experience again, and then you have to find another hobby and then it would just be a intense cycle.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty with like being a content creator, especially in like the Lego form. You don't have to post every day. You can if you want to, by all means, right? But also you can plan ahead a little bit too. You can kind of make your own schedule in this sense, especially like, you know, if you're going full time like you are, which is incredible. You can make your own schedule. You can plan ahead. You know, maybe Saturdays and Sundays you grind, right, and you plan out videos for every other day throughout the week. So like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursdays you can do absolutely nothing, and that's the beauty of it, you know.
So what's your current like schedule like rise when you like think about like your content? Like what's your approach?
Oh my gosh, it's been challenging. The last, I would say 3-4 months, I started feeling it. I've been feeling it. I do have some private information, but it was finally like a sense of, hey, this is paying off. Like this is awesome news. It's such a big opportunity. But as far as my schedule, I do work a full-time job as well. So believe it or not, I am an engineer for a company, and that works around maybe 50, 60 hours a week at least. So it's tough. I travel quite a bit for work as well. So I really have to be pretty tight-knit with my schedule. Being to work from home a little bit is just such a great opportunity as well to kind of get in your work. And then, you don't have to travel. So that time you would spend traveling, you could work on content. And it's truly from, before the sun comes up, from the sun goes down, just full force, right? Like I'm jumping from my job, and then I'm jumping from, my content creation. So my other job, and managing different platforms, right? And it's a lot, but you really just have to take advantage. There's, different platforms like YouTube. That one's a little bit more focused, right? That's something I focus more on. Whereas Instagram and TikTok is like recycled content, is what I like to call it.
Someone said.
Yeah, right. Someone's got to say it. I mean,
that's my exact mindset as well. I love to hear.
I've never made $1 off Instagram, so it's just Instagram in general. I mean, affiliate marketing is different, but I was never in the creator content. What is it called? Meta's platform, whatever they were paying. So why put not the effort, but why make something different and noticeable for Instagram when, posting the same videos between TikTok worked, right? So even though it is the same content, different audience is the best way to put it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's like promotion, basically.
Yeah, it is, but it's hard
Just
to
for
like
more
pull
outreach.
people from other platforms to get to one
true.
platform. Like Instagram, YouTube's like a good easy one. TikTok to Instagram, probably not happening. Instagram to YouTube, I don't know that too well. It doesn't look like it. So, I mean, Holly, you would know, right? I mean,
I feel like definitely like YouTube to anywhere is like kind of the way you want to go, but like funneling people from Instagram or to TikTok especially, I think is the worst. Like I just leave it in the background now. I'm like, when I want to post on it, I'll post about it, just because like I don't see a lot of value in it for me personally. Like I can see a lot of other people doing great things with it, but I just can't see many people moving over just because like who's gonna watch, I guess, like a long video if you're going on TikTok and just scrolling mindlessly? Like that's not the content you're coming from. And if you're gonna move over to Instagram, you're just gonna see the same things, but maybe like you want to know a little bit more about that person, you want to see a photo as well. But because like Instagram is just basically trying to copy TikTok, like I don't see like people wanting to go and open another app just to see the same stuff. Like I get it too. I post the same things on both of them. I'm like, I'm not going to put in any effort. Like I don't get anything out of TikTok or Instagram. Like we don't have those kind of creative fun programs even for TikTok in Australia. That's just not a thing. So I'm like, I'm not going to put time and effort and energy into it. I'm just like, look, if people find my face, and like, I guess it's just the beauty of like, you can reach a lot of people and a lot of people can see your name, see your face, see your content, maybe just get familiar with you. Like I see that kind of as the value. So I guess like that's really the only benefit. But yeah, growing and moving an audience, it's like, it's I think the hardest part, I guess, about content creation, especially in the day of like short form content. Like I think it's getting increasingly more difficult.
That's cool that you're saying that. Like, so with me on Instagram, I'm actually finding it more enjoyable when people are posting photos, because like,
I'm the same.
Especially when I find new accounts of like random people that I found interesting with their little short forms. I kind of just like want them to stop moving for a second. So like when you're going through their feed, right, and initially you just see the thumbnail, whatever they're doing, or the capture, whatever the picture is. So if you're not really paying attention, you think it's a photo and you click on it and it has nothing to do with that photo. It's all video. And if it's just all that, it gets really annoying. And every now and then I at least want to see a photo or a freeze just so I could like, I don't know. It's just something soothing for me about it. Like seeing a photo of the account that I'm watching, at least sprinkled throughout the entire thing, as opposed to it being all reels. You know what I mean? That's just me.
I'm with you, Shai. My first platform was Instagram, and it started with just taking pictures of Lego, which it may be boring, you know, that might be boring to look at now, but
no, see, I miss the photo. I miss the days when people would just take a photo of their collection. Like I'll see a photo, I'm like, oh cool, like I want to look at your shelves, I want to zoom in, and then it's a reel and they're moving, and then on Instagram I can't pause it and I get really frustrated. I'm like, what is going on? Like I say,
especially if it's an edited photo, if like because you know, like, if it's a real, it looks like a really good edited photo, but it's technically just the cover of the reel. But you just want to see the photo. You don't care about the reel, and you're just like, oh, it's got nothing to do with it.
As cliche as it sounds, but I remember like every single holiday, so like Halloween, you know, in America they get so dressed up and stuff. I'd go to the Lego store and find Halloween minifigs, buy them, and that whole week I'd like set up pumpkins outside, take different pictures around it. Like that's how intense it was. Like for whatever reason, I just enjoyed doing it. You know, like this is the time where I was, you know, maybe like 3,000 followers on Instagram, no YouTube, nothing. And it was just pure enjoyment, however odd that may seem, but you just don't see that anymore.
Not at all. I love it.
No, you don't see anything.
Everything's too orchestrated now. Like, I mean, I guess like I think back to the days of early Instagram, right? And you just take a photo on the app and it's got that awful filter and just like not a care in the world. Like, and now these days, and I mean, completely opposite spectrum, like on just how Instagram's grown. It's no longer just like people sharing little bits of their lives. It's like, no, I'm like trying to make a career out of this. But even then, and like, it's just so kind of, I don't want to say fake, but it's just like performative a little bit, I feel like. And I think that's why that's kind of why photo dumps have like really started to take a lot of popularity. But I haven't seen that translate into the Lego space yet, which I think is really interesting, though I don't know how it would necessarily, but I wonder if like that's something that could like come back in the future, because like if we're all like missing that kind of like just I want to see a photo type of atmosphere, like maybe I guess that's a path that could potentially be upcoming, the same way that like those split screen thumbnails have like really only just hit the Lego kind of content space.
It's especially the use of the story.
Yeah,
the story is like a big thing at this point. I don't know. It's just Instagram's everywhere. I just use it as a calling card. If you want to reach out to me, that's like how I talk to people in the community. And like going back to what you said in the very, very beginning, like I'm here not to make a career out of it. I'm here like to be a part of what this is. Like I'm not talking about Cali Brick. I'm talking about like the whole overall online community. I find joy in it. I love the people who are on there. I made some really, really good friends. So like I want to be here because of that. I want to stay alive like here by posting content. So that keeps me like I'm here. I didn't disappear. Love you, Lauren. But
She's still around. We still talk to her.
we still talk to her. She's on all of our stuff, so technically she's still around.
That's why Instagram's good. You can just throw a DM to someone.
Exactly.
Keep
So
your friends in your
For
circle.
messaging.
Instagram is a good way of just ensuring that there is a hand reach. It does get like a little scary when like people just completely disappear. Like they stop posting content on YouTube, then you check on them on Instagram, and there's nothing since 2022. So like, and then like you reach out, and then nothing happens. So you kind of wonder with all that stuff. But going back into the Lego, you're getting famous off your uncle's collection. Hey, you know what? It's family. Like I'm cool with it.
Sure.
Like if it's there, like why not? I mean, like Holly, you're just in Claire's room. Emily took that in full advantage and did a overall haul for May the 4th. She's technically using the room. It's not her Lego.
Yeah, using the backdrop.
Yeah, use it as the backdrop, but just kind of just using someone else's collection to your advantage. I mean, as long as you say it's not your collection, I don't think anybody's gonna care. It's just something interesting to see, like it, especially when you're showing the same thing over and over again. Like you guys see this backdrop over and over again, but if I were to do the same thing in Claire's office, then or in Emily's room, or Josh from Josh Build Stuff's room, I mean that'll be like, whoa, what's happening here? It's a complete flip on the audience's head, but it's still interesting to see. And besides, your uncle has a sick shit.
It's so cool.
It's so like I remember when was the first time, I don't know if it was a thumbnail or if it was on Instagram, but the photo of either the Brick Mania one or the Castle one out of the garage. At first, I was like, where does it feel that? And then 2, how long did it take to set up like that just for a photo, just to take it back down? And 3, it's hanging out of the garage. That means after whatever they photo, they have to bring it back inside quickly because it's dark. Because it looked like you're getting taken a shot of like in the afternoon where it's dusk outside. So like, can you like explain like all of that collection right quick? Like let's start with either the Castle or the Brick Mania one. Like how did that happen? Because we're going to get into a little bit of a science behind this.
He's been collecting for around, I don't know, I would say between 12 and 15 years, which is a substantial amount of time, right? He's never, I'm going to say never bought anything online. He only goes in store on top of it. On top of owning a collection that big, he's only got stuff in store. Like the minimal stuff online orders is from me ordering him like parts or something like over the last couple of years. He's very
unheard of.
Or at least he's saving money on shipping.
That's true.
Yeah, but super anti-tech. Just enjoys going to the stores. He'll go to like, I don't know, 10 Targets in a day, multiple times. It's awesome. It's, that's a lifestyle, right? Let alone Lego stores. He'll go to all the Chicago ones, in one drive, a couple times a week. But we started with the Castle. And whatever reason, he's just like, hey, he just got divorced and he just bought his new house. I helped him move all his Lego, which took ages. And he's like, let's set up something while we're moving and just kind of go from there. And I was like, okay, let's do the Castle because he wanted to dismantle it. The Castle itself was probably, judging from the picture, I don't know, 12 by 12 maybe, like a castle wall. This used to be set up inside his basement, his basement downstairs. Just the castle was there with like the Harry Potter stuff inside, full of minifigs. And then, of course, the minifigs on the outside were not set up in his house. But we decided to just sheet base plates full of minifigs. So like each base plate was 100 minifigs. And you're talking like just so many different minifigs. So you had like Ninjago, you had old castle genre, orcs from Lord of the Rings, like just a whole variety. One of the coolest ones was like the archers. For me, it was the coolest. The archers on top of the castle, I don't even know how many there were. It had to be hundreds. They were all Skylar from Ninjago. And the only chance to get that Skylar minifig was in that, I think it was $10, that $10 like battle pack. So it came with like 3 figs. It was like a Skylar and like 2 Vermilion Warriors. So right there, you just think, okay, say it was 300 Skylar minifigs. There's 300 times 10. Like there's $3,000 in just that one set. And that was just like a small portion of that, which is, I know it's absurd if you start throwing numbers at it, which I try not to do because it's bad. It's significant. And that was one of the biggest setups we did that just kind of broke the internet, I would say. We posted that thumbnail was 17,000 minifigs. I mean, that just does it justice, right? It's so different to see it in person, and they are all official Lego from Lego stores, never bought online, only in store, which is like just going so far down the line and so specific. It makes it 10 times crazier.
I mean, you had the right thing too as well. You pulled all of the different type of intense fandom groups with Ninjago in there, and you get all the Castle Bros in there. Like, that is one way to I guess garner attention. That's genius. That's
it's like he falls in
insane.
love with a figure, no matter where it is, like Ninjago, Castle. If it has some sort of appealing to the torso or whatever, he'll buy or find a way to get 100 of them.
Right. Yeah,
And,
the Medusa from I forget what series.
Yeah.
I think he has 80 or 90 of them. He'll feel for them, and then that series, I believe that series came with a warrior. He has probably over 1,000 of that single warrior. So just imagine how many minifigs he had to feel just to get 1,000 of those warriors. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the same series as the Mr. Gold. And I had this discussion with him. He goes, "Did you ever find the Mr. Gold?" And he goes, "No, I didn't." And I think he has over 10,000 minifigs from that series and never found a Mr. Gold that he's personally felt. And
also just how many stores he would have had to drive to be able to go and feel through all of the minifigs. That's wild.
Right.
I'm still shocked the fact that he's got all these in person.
Yes.
I mean, I guess Chicago's a good place because you have a Brick Mania, you have Lego stores, does he go to Bricks and Minifigs?
He just found out about Bricks and Minifigs.
Oh my god!
What? I promise you, this was maybe a month ago now. He goes, "Dude, there's this other store called Bricks and Minifigs, and we gotta go."
Yeah, there's 2, I think, in the Chicago area.
Yeah,
right? I remember we went to one of them. I didn't know what was happening, but whatever.
I know one was new.
I got my Queen Amidala at one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He cleaned it out for sure.
So all of those Brick Mania sets were from the Chicago store?
Yes. He's met Dan a few times. He actually introduced me to him at Brick World Chicago. So, I mean, he knows my uncle.
He's a whale.
You're right.
He's a whale. So Brick Mania really relies on the B-Cam whales. I am unfortunately not one of those people. I get when I can if I really want something. But what really keeps the business afloat are the diehards. You got to give it to them, the ones that'll get everything. But oh my god, when I saw that, I was just I see people army build in the custom military world, and a lot of the people, at least that I've come across, that buy a lot of Brick Mania will buy just one thing per whatever it is. I have a bunch of different aircraft, right? It's not the same aircraft, but I do have 5 of the same tank, but they're different versions of the tank. Your Unc has 10 Zero Mitsubishi Zeros and 6 PF 109s, or I can keep going. Why do you think because this also relates to his city and also the Knights, why do you think he needs to get more than one of the same thing?
Generally, I think I know he just absolutely loves and enjoys building, whether it's the same side or not. He likes to have just a multitude of them. Example, the Republic gunship the Republic fighter tank. I've watched him build over 300 of those. He builds them without the instructions. And 300 of those. Can you imagine 300 of those? It's a lot.
Wow.
But he just enjoys it. So a little short story on that. Part of his job when he had his business, he sold it not too long ago. But he had to drive, and he had a box truck. And when he would drive, guess what? He built Lego while driving. He would tell me, he goes, the last 5-6 years, I would just build, because he's on the the open expressways, no cars, right, going down south or whatever, and he would just build Lego. He'd go to each Lego store in whatever city, driving through, buy a bunch of Lego and build it while driving, just to keep entertained, which I thought was crazy, but pretty awesome. But that goes back to your question of buying the same set and army building like that. He just enjoys large armies. Star Wars is another topic, right? It's a lot different from getting the same Brickmania tank, and I think that's a good question. I should probably just sit down and ask him hey, why do you build the same set? But I think I know his answer is: 1, I just enjoy building it, and 2, I want to have a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. I'm an army builder. I like having a multitude of the same vehicle. Doesn't matter what it is, but it's very easy to comprehend when it comes to like clones, because a lot of people do that. When it comes to castle, a lot of people do that. And I'm sure when the Imperials for Pirates come into fruition with the new set that's coming out in the summer, that's probably going to be another one. But a lot of other people do it with other things too. Like Sans has his Bull Clone Army. Like, you could pretty much just army build anything. But there is some fascination with having the same exact minifigure, like just having like more than 2, like 3, 4, and it becomes addictive at that point. Like, oh, I already have 5. Let's make 10. Oh, 10 looks cool. Let's get 20. And then, oh, cool. Let's get 100. And then before you know it, you have 2,000 minifigures. I'm guilty of that. So, but like, so getting 2 of the same set though, it starts to cross a little bit more, because one, you need to find room for that, and it's very easy to justify if it's a vehicle, right? Because if you army build, you technically need vehicles to go with that army. And like for me, I like to play like giant war games, like when I was little, like like the toy soldiers versus toy soldiers, make these huge epic battles, take over the entire house. My mom would get really pissed off because the house is a mess. But I now have the financial capabilities of recreating the same thing with what I want without having to use my imagination. So instead of pretending that these 5 minifigures were an army of 1,000,000, I'll go buy 1,000,000 minifigures. Right? So, but that in relation to that, a Lego city, like when I was a kid, like I had a Lego town. It wasn't a huge city, but in my mind, in my imagination, it was like this police station was this huge giant police station. This little house was a pizzeria, which I wish I never lost. Was this, big giant cafe. But now Lego kind of allows it. You're able to build a city now with the modulars and stuff like that. But to have the capacity financially and space, like the basement that you show off with those huge skyscrapers, I mean, that alone is a flex enough as it is, let alone most of them are facades. Still, they're humongous. But like when you're looking at the city, you're seeing not 1 cafe corner, 2 cafe corners, 3 cafe corners, greengrocer, market street. Like you're just watching this flex, and you turn around like, oh, here's another 4 Palace Cinemas.
Yeah,
But it's just, but he's embracing what like Lego wanted in the beginning with Cafe Corner, which is like putting 6 together, like putting, like mirroring it and make it this one gigantic building. A lot of people already have a hard time buying. It's like, why would you buy the same set twice? But when you look at something like that, it's like, whoa, this is sick.
I mean, they've got great parts value.
Oh, yeah.
So many amazing, just easy to use bricks. Like, I feel like the modular is like one that I think is probably the largest set that I think people could understand buying multiple of. Like, I mean, Claire's had this conversation with us. Like, she's like, I want to have my 2 modulars so I can make a mini one, and it makes sense because all of these parts that we don't use can just be stored away for something else. And I feel like that is probably one of the only buildings that I can think of that like is kind of normal for people to buy multiple of, but it also makes sense for something like a city, right? Like you look at a giant city, like there isn't just one police station often, like there's one big one, maybe there's like a smaller unit off the side, or even cars. Like you don't see one Toyota Prius driving around.
Right.
Like it does make sense for a city that scale to have so many duplicates. Like
right.
I guess like what is the most like duplicated set that you can think of in that city layout?
The most duplicated I would say is the Grand Emporium.
Wow.
I can name, there's one building that he did a skyscraper, so it's 9 Grand Emporiums. So like you have your 4 corners, and then you have the side buildings, but it's two on the sides, and he made them straight. So like he did like his own creation, right? He mocked them. They made it a straight because the Grand Emporium is a corner building, right? But he just made the facade so it's a straight building. So I think it might be 10 Grand Emporiums that make up that building, and then in the center of it, because of course there's going to be one or two base plates in the middle that would be empty. Instead, it's a huge skyscraper, like a translucent blue like shopping mall. That's what it is supposed to be. So it's like it's not just your Grand Emporium, small shopping, one base plate. No, this is like the Grand Emporium. Like it's the one in the city. And then I know that's a duplication, but then he also has a bunch of Grand Emporiums like throughout the city as well. So that's just one that for me, I'm always gonna be like, oh, he definitely has maybe like 15 grand emporiums, and then like I know he has some sealed as well, which is awesome. I know that's crazy, right? But
it also puts the scale of the giant skyscrapers behind it into like proportion, because we all know how big Market Street is. It's 3, or any modular is 3 stories,
right?
And it's like a base plate. But then when you have 5 across, spaced out technically a little bit, but you look behind and you see these like huge, like this whole thing is like one building for him.
Yeah,
it's like one skyscraper, and I'm like, that's a lot of brick. Did he Brinkley that? Because you said he didn't order online. So he managed to get enough brick to build like 50 of these shelves.
I get a phone call at least once a week, and he MFs to me that the Lego store puts limits on him. Like I have control. He goes, they don't let, if I want to buy everything in the store, he says, and they won't let me, I don't get it. And I get the argument, because like he just wants to build.
He's wiping everybody.
Save some for the kids. But also it's like he's using it. He's not
exactly.
Does he know about Lego's online pick and build?
No, yes, because I order him the last maybe month or so. I've been starting to order him a few pieces. So I don't know. I wouldn't even count it part of the collection. Like it's only probably like a few $100s worth. But the reason he knows about Bricklink is because I brought Tyler Life Bricks to his house a couple times, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, that minifig! You know that minifig." He's very knowledgeable, especially in Star Wars, right? And he was just going through my uncle's collection, like, "Oh my God, I could sit here all day and tell you some of the minifigs." And my uncle was getting a kick out of it. Like he's like, "I had no idea. You know, I paid like $20 for that." Like
that Cloud City Boba Fett in your Raceway, yeah, of course,
right? Yeah,
$3,000 minifigure just walking around the city.
He will say that's just another $5 minifig. You know, like to me, like it's crazy. It's awesome to see.
I am really shocked to see he amassed that much of a collection without getting it online.
Yeah, I think that still makes it 10 times greater, in my opinion.
I'm just jealous of you being able to have like access to a collection like that to showcase it. Like, absolutely, like show it off. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
I really want to buy a warehouse out here by us, because we live about 10 minutes from each other. I really want to buy a warehouse. That way he can display everything. That's going to have to be one big warehouse. I know that. But
like show as a museum, like for sure. Right. Like okay, so Chicago, Brickworld Chicago is probably one of the largest conventions in the world at this point. You're not that far from Chantilly, I'm presuming. If he had some sort of, because watching that collections, I would say challenges the one in Discovery. No, but so the Discovery Center city in next to in Chantilly, yeah. So that's a beautiful, nice built city made by Lego Master Builders. But I feel like your city, or his city, or your city, it's both your city, your fam, would rival that, because like although the city that's made for Chicago in Discovery Store or Discovery Center, it's it's a tribute to Chicago and like all the landmarks that are there. But there's really not that much like Lego nostalgia in it. You know what I mean? Like there's no Cafe Corner in there. There's no Cloud City Boba Fett walking around. So like if he were mass that together and make this huge layout of like the city with things that with sets that a lot of people will be shocked to see more than one of, talking about Green Grocer and sets like that, let alone seeing a $3,000 minifigure walking around in the middle of nowhere encased. I think that's like a big difference that would set it apart between the one that's done by Lego or Merlin, let alone showing off an army like that. I mean, I'm proud of my army, but if you bring that up, I'm like, oh, okay, go look at that.
Let alone being able to just be like, hey, you don't have to have a kid to enter. If you're an adult, you can walk in. Like, you'd put them out of business. Like,
yeah, you don't need to have
the amount of Lego fans that would go and see that. Like, I would go and see it. Like, even just like looking at it online, I'm like, this is so cool. Let alone seeing it in person. Like, there's always such a difference between looking at something online versus like being able to actually be present and things like that, and really have a look, like crouch down, look in at like all of the little details. Like that would just be insane. Like, oh, like has that like inspired you like in any like way that you've found yourself collecting, like just seeing like how many like duplicates of everything and like army building and just like the scale and city like that? Like what kind of impact has that had on you like as you've gotten into the hobby too?
It kind of put me in check. Like it gives me something. As bad as that may sound, but it put me in check. Like, hey, you'll probably never beat this, so don't try to do that. But why try to do that for me? Like, because I'm in that shoes. Like when I have that at like my access, like at my disposal, like I can go and I can work on it with him, which is awesome, right? Or I can go and record and see that, and set up a war myself. Like I can do whatever, right? Because he's just that way, which is very fortunate. Not everyone's that fortunate. So it gives me the chance to say, okay, well, I don't need that in my own collection. Of course, I want to army build a little bit, but I don't have to get that crazy. And instead, I could focus, more on the content side of it. And then, of course, for me, it's always just been like I need at least like one of every set, and not two, because I have him for that.
Healthy boundaries. We love to see it.
So he's the one that feels that need to buy more than one. So no, that's cool though, having that access though. You just said it right. Let's see if you want to build a mock of whatever. You just go, hey, can I borrow 200 of these minifigures right quick, and maybe like 10 of those. 10 of those.
Can I just borrow one of those sealed cafe corners over there and just
borrow one of those?
Brick, or hey, can I have that red base plate out of the Palace Cinema you got in the back there? Oh, awesome!
No, and he would, if I was doing a mock or something, he'd be like, oh yeah, just give him back whenever, and so which is awesome to have it access to.
Plus the piece collection he has underneath the city, that's pretty extensive.
Yeah, and then like what's under the city too, like what you can't see, right? Like, yeah. So one of the other things, is different. He's a comic collector as well. I figured I'd throw that in here. He's a big comic collector. I wish I knew more about it, but you can imagine his Lego hobby. So times that by comics.
Like, do you like see dollar signs? Not saying you're trying to sell it, but you understand the value. Does it really like help you understand what he has by knowing how much each thing is worth and what you can use it for? What he like, if have you tried nudging him in direction like, hey, you have like 10 of these you're not even building. You could probably sell some of these, move them, get some more of something else, upgrade the collection a little bit. Because I'm not trying to hit his collection any way possible. I'm not trying to. I'm probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But like, if I look at the Brick Mania one, it's a little outdated, right? They're all yellow minifigures. When he was saying like they're all $18 minifigures, I'm like, they're $30 minifigures now, and then the $250 tank is more like a $500 tank now. So like, has he considered like upgrading like the army of any way, or upgrading the city in any way?
Yeah,
just by using what he has in his collection.
I've mentioned like selling some things, right? And for him, the best answer I could give you would been he does not want to sell it like piece by piece, right? Someone has to be like, I want your Brick Mania collection. Here's $100,000. I want the whole Brick Mania collection. If you were to piece out, 2,000 here, 2,000 there, it just wouldn't be worth the time. And that's basically an answer in short. Like all the Star Wars collection, he would not want to sell like, just the Clone Wars. Like he would tell them no, like you have to buy the whole collection. And I think that's fair, just because like where do you draw the line, right? He doesn't want to sell $10,000 worth of minifigs. It's just not worth the time to separate. Like just take all of it or none kind of deal.
I've seen those on eBay. Like someone has a whole castle collection of the Crown Knights for like $10,000. It's very inviting and tempting. But like I mean, me personally I don't have the means to just drop $10,000 like that. If I did, then I would have handled it. But I understand that. That's cool to see that he's open to someone buying his collection. Like he's not like, this is mine forever, blah blah blah. This is, if the price is right, he'll sell it. That's pretty much what.
And that's what he said. There's a price tag on everything. And like I'll say, one of his biggest goals, like he could definitely achieve it, right? But one thing he always wanted was a Lamborghini. So if Lamborghini, you're watching this and want to buy a Lego collection or do a trade, let me know. He just wants a Aventador, probably the Lamborghini he wants, and I forget what color. I think he said white. I think a Lamborghini white. So that was his goal. Nice. So if he sold his Star Wars or his city or something, that's what he would buy.
I'm sure.
Because he's also in a very good position that like he doesn't need to sell it. He's not desperate to sell it. So like you just kind of set that price. And if someone is desperate enough, like a third party like resale Lego store, for example, I feel like they would probably be like the key person that would go and shell out that money, because then they can do all the hard work of separating it. But a lot of the time, like they're probably not going to pay the price he wants, even though like for them, that's a gold mine, right? Like that is like a Lego investor's kind of dream type of thing. Like I think that he's in a really, really good spot in that regard. Like you don't have to worry.
if someone bought it as a whole, they're gonna win. Like, you're doing the work, but and you know what you're doing, you're gonna win. It's not gonna be like, oh, you're paying top dollar. It's not. You know, it's gonna be at a bargain. Like, it's not gonna be top dollar. I tell you that right now. If anyone's watching wants to make an offer, let me know.
Orlando Brick Co. I heard you have a store opening. You need stock.
Hey, literally stock that into. That was a good starting for a store to start.
That would make a great video. Just like a fleet of moving trucks, just like filled with Lego. The insurance cost on that move, though.
Oh my god!
No,
can you imagine? Oof.
No, because when I was watching the last city video, or at least the last room tour of that basement, where I was looking at how many police cars that were in that, like the lane where all the police cars are at, the newest one, I think. It looks like the newest, the blue and the white one. I'm like, I'm counting. I don't know why I was counting them as you were talking. Like, I stopped paying attention to what you were saying. I started counting the police cars, and I'm like, well, like by the time I got to like 20, 25, and then you start doing the math. It's $9.99 a set. And you're like, wow. And that's just only the police car.
That small set
of that small section of this section of the room. There's still a mass of way more than that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like $1,000 in like.
It puts my 5501st troopers to shame. Absolutely. Like, they don't mean anything anymore.
I forget how many we counted for. Every time I went to the store, he said, however many you find, clean them out. I'll pay you whenever. Don't worry about it. So every time I went to the store and I found some, I probably accumulated, I don't know, like at least 50 or 60 for him. At least. And let alone what he's buying. And I forget, I think there was 400 of those packs. Because I want to say there were 1,600 of the new 501st troopers. So 4 times 4, 400.
That is insane. Imagine if he had access to the magazines as well. Like, just being able to
he has all the magazines
stash them and run.
for like the last 10 years.
Does he have a goal? Like, I want this much, or is it out of convenience? Like, oh, I'm at Target. There's like, they just put 20 on the shelves. I'm gonna grab all 20. Like, or if the Lego store got like 3 of the modules in stock, I'm just buy all 3 of these because it's there. Or is he saying, I want 20 of this one specific set. I'm gonna get 20 no matter what.
So the Star Wars definitely I've kind of enabled him a little bit because I said we were going to do a full Star Wars tour. So he's kind of been like going a little like above and beyond for it.
That's the spirit.
I blame myself for that, but no, it's awesome. And as far as
I'm just smiling in awe, man. Like, I'm living vicariously through him right now. Like, just imagining you like, we're at Lego store. How much you want to buy? All right, let's go.
It's fun, right? But I wish he was here to like. He doesn't like to be on camera or anything like that. So
he doesn't show himself at all.
If I was like, hey, we're gonna do an interview with you, he'd be like, oh, just speak for me. So I'm gonna show him this later on. He'll hopefully be excited about it.
Have you like ever considered, I guess, like reaching out to like a news station or like I guess just like a broader type of thing, like because I guess now that you have like the Stud City account and like have this full documentation of it with all of the reels and everything, like that could be a really good tool to be like, hey, like, do you want to do like a news piece on my uncle's collection? Or like, I guess, is he like, he just doesn't want to do that? Is he too private? Is he worried that like, I guess if like someone might find out where it is and try to steal it type of thing? Like, do you think like that would be something that you'd try and do in the future?
I would definitely, he would be up for it and he'd get a kick out of it. Like, I know we did the video with like Brick Clique, right? Where we're doing the record and like, he's beyond excited. Like I'm not fronting, but I'm fronting my uncle's figs for it, like to like put into that. He's beyond, like he'll tell everyone like in my family, which is awesome. And it's super exciting to see. And he deserves that, right? He deserves the best. But as far as a news thing, he'd be all about it. He really would, but he would not want to be the face of it. I don't think. At least from like the last conversations I had with him, he would just say, hey, I don't want to interview, just speak on my behalf. You could just say it's my uncle, or whatever. Or John, he doesn't care if it's his first name. So he would be all about it. I would be up for it. I think it'd be a challenge with just how much Lego there is.
I think what's cool about it is that you've built this like partnership that benefits you. I mean, obviously, benefits him. He gets a kick out of the building, the accumulation, all that kind of stuff. But if you're sharing it on YouTube, you're sharing it on your channel. You give him the credit, but ultimately, like I see it, I don't see it as like his collection and your channel. Like it's like a partnership because you film his stuff, he gets a kick out of it because people are enjoying it. So he's benefiting from you sharing it. So like, if I wasn't not say, I get it, the whole time thing, like family, kids, work full time. Yeah, I totally understand. There's like only so many minutes of a day to create something, let alone film it. It's like you're sitting on like this huge opportunity of different ways that you can go, like, let alone just setting stuff up, but you could do like a little mock series. You could, you could do like a
you can even just go, I guess, into the value of everything, because like you have a very clear interest in like just like the Lego investment type of route, because like it is so rare to have access to the stuff that he has. Like very few people ever can, and if you ever do, you have to take that opportunity and run. So like I guess like would you potentially do like a video series, like going through and being like, all right, well, like here's this thing, it was like purchased for this amount in this year.
Yeah.
These days it's like roughly worth this, and like you could do like a whole episode just on like just Star Wars minifigures, Ninjago, like the modulars, the Grand Emporium as a whole thing, and then like also equally showcase like what he's done. Because like I said, like he's gonna like getting that joy out of seeing someone just like appreciate your collection is such a large part, I think, of Lego collecting that we don't really ever talk about, but it's always there.
Yeah.
So like him getting that out of it, you getting to grow your account and also just give people something that they wouldn't be able to really get otherwise, all in one location. Like that's incredible.
Exactly.
That's a great idea. Like a series where like just his city, right? We'll start like two buildings at a time or something, and just
you should literally like just okay. So let's say Six City, for example. You can literally go like, here's one greengrocer. At the time, blah blah was purchased for whatever. Now it's worth blah blah blah. But here's 2, here's 3, here's 4. Now
there's also that type of content you could cut down and like you could have a long video on it and then like cut it down and throw it on YouTube Shorts and like same thing. Crossover potential is there, man. Can I go? I'm like,
there's so much you can do. No, but Holly brought up a great point. Like a lot of videos that do very well is you're living vicariously through the people that you're watching, and with the Lego collecting thing, a lot of very clickable, not I guess clickable, but really attention grabbing when you see a whole collection of whatever it is, and especially if it's an army of any kind, whether it's like 55 police cars to like 10 UCS gunships or whatever, but like
like
you're
a million views on those clone armies, like
oh my god,
jump on that.
It's like you're not used to seeing it. People like normally just don't have it in them to buy another of the same thing. A lot of people just don't see the value in that, especially if they already built the same thing. They don't feel like it's just not worth it to them. But to see it, it's still like appealing and interesting, and like I want to see why this person bought 25 of this set or whatever. You know what I mean? I just think there's a lot of people like watching haul videos, right? Haul videos are easy to make. People want to see what you buy. In reality, it's probably a bad thing to be doing because you're enticing, or no, you're telling people to buy stuff.
Right. How much did you spend? Yeah.
But that's the shock point though, right? Like, how much did you spend? Like, I spent $2,000. Oh my god, I would have never spent that, but I'm happy you did because I get to live through you doing it. And there's not a lot of, you would think there would be a lot of hate on that, but there really isn't. It's just like, whoa, I wish I was you, or oh, that's cool, enjoy, I'm happy for you. There's a lot of support on that. So wow, man, I can just keep going.
There's only one platform that expressed the hate, and that's Reddit.
Oh yeah, let's stay off the Reddit. That Reddit's meant for hating. It's fine.
Yeah, whoever's moderator on that, I would love to meet you in person.
No, don't even.
Would you though?
I don't want to meet these people. Oh man.
Yeah, I feel like with whole always people kind of like it. No one ever expresses like I guess their jealousy or whatever, because just like that's not the attitude. You're first and foremost you're wowed, and then just like maybe you'll sit back afterwards and be like, was that really a good idea that they spent that money? I mean, I do that with myself. I film a whole video and I'm like, what have I done?
Yeah, right.
Why did the guys stop making haul videos?
I know. It's just like I've got to accumulate things, and that's the only time I'll do it anymore.
Yeah, and I'm like, this doesn't seem like it's a good message. But they do so well, and people like watching them because they want to see what I bought.
It's fun. It's fun to
look. Yeah, they are easy to make. But to bring it back down, you have a gold mine. I'm so happy for you that you have this access to one the Lego in itself to the collection, but just to have like a family member who like really is passionate about the hobby. Like I don't have that. Like my wife does not care about Lego whatsoever. My children do not care about this. If they didn't have it, then probably they would be like, "Oh,
that's because you don't have enough dinosaurs, Shy. You gotta get more dinosaurs, and then they'll care."
but it's like Daddy already has it. He doesn't need. I don't need to buy it because he's gonna get it anyway. So that need, that want is not there. So there's no. The only time I get appreciation for this kind of collection or the love of the hobby is when I talk to my friends here. That's like really the only time.
Why he does the whole videos.
Yeah, that's why but like to have a very close family member or friend down the street from you, figuratively, that you can literally just sit there all day and just talk Lego and then enjoy the physical Lego in front of them is, I think, a feeling that a lot of people have never experienced because a lot of people are closeted in this thing. They're around people that don't care about it. I was amazed when I was into Claire's room or Mr. Bookie Boo's room or anyone else's Lego room that I've been a part of. I'm sure, Holly, you've been to a bunch at this point, and I don't know how you feel about them, but it's really cool to see.
It's the best part. It's so good. Oh, Ninja's gone.
Yeah, no, he's gone. Yeah,
it's so good, and it's so nice just to be able to also just like talk and get to share that with people. And like I light up, they light up because they see me lit up. Like I think that's another thing as well. Like having a family member, like it's one thing to have and go and visit your friends. Like that is like a whole other area. It just brings back just to why the community in general in Lego is so special and so important. But also like having a family member, it kind of takes it back to the whole like family concept of Lego. Like a family member buys you a set and that's how you get into it. And it really has that kind of like childhood essence to it. Like I guess like Duck Brick spoke about in his episode, like having like that childhood point of like, oh, I've grown up in this space. Like this is my collection. Like a family member kind of roots back to that in a way too. And that's like so nice. I wish my family were into it, man. It would make firstly just collecting so much easier. It wouldn't be like, hey, get this out of the hallway. Why is this in the living room all of a sudden? I'm like, why is it Christmas decoration? It's fine.
I just blamed the children. They took it out of the office. That was my excuse.
It was the dog. Just kidding. They don't touch it. I mean, luckily for me.
but even having a family member that's so close and that has Lego like in such sheer amount, right? That's so fortunate. But I also have Tyler, who I met like within the community, and he's like a great friend as well. And he lives just as far. I'm 10 minutes from Tyler's house, and it's awesome to just pop by. Yeah,
we're flexing like it's cool today, are we?
Yeah, so I mean, going into like other people's Lego rooms, like Tyler's room is extraordinary. Like it is amazing. It almost felt like I was seeing more Lego than being at my uncle's. Like I was so mind blown going into it because it was just something so different, right? He has the whole Bricklink setup, which is a whole other topic, right? And then he has his own personal collection in a whole other side of the house, and it was amazing to see. And it's like, okay, this guy was 10 minutes. Where were you my whole life?
Right? That's my favorite thing about visiting people's rooms is because, like, oftentimes, I guess you'll see a couple of the same sets, if not a lot, but it's always a completely different setup to how they're laid out. Like, I remember when we were at Claire's house, we see she has all of the modulars, like, on a shelf, just in a line on, like, a bookcase, and Shai's looking at his and is like, it's the same buildings, but this is different. And it's like the same deal with your uncle. Like it's in a city layout. It's different. Like Star Wars stuff, like mine's on like a little stand or a shelf, but I could go and look at like Sans's Yoda collection and it's just an entirely different thing. Like you get a lot of people's personality with just how they set things up, which I also think is really fun because it's we all love the same things. We all love a lot of the same sets, but just what do you do with those? I think that's a lot of like personal expression and also just another fun thing about being able to see so many different collections and so many people's rooms and layouts and things like that. Man, I want Lego friends in my city. Why are you all overseas? This sucks.
Right?
I'm jealous of the Austin crew and they're all in a little bubble and now I'm learning about this other little bubble in like Illinois. What's going on?
What the hell? But, no, but that's okay, so that's bringing up another part of that, just kind of snowballing on this idea. So there's a difference between going into your uncle's office or house, at this point, and Tyler's basement. Tyler, you get to see his room on here, like on this, right? You're seeing, so like I'm watching Holly's bedroom every time she makes a video. You're watching this office every time you watch it. So in your mind, you're kind of building what you think it looks like how it's laid out, and you kind of know what's happening. But then when you actually see it, like when you see it in person, like going to Tyler's room, it's like, whoa, this is like, I've seen this already, but I've not seen this yet.
Yeah.
Like when Emily came over my pad, like she looked at my living room for like a good 2 minutes and didn't move. And I'm like, hi, Emily. Hi. Hi, the kids are right there. And she's just looking straight like to the kitchen because she's seen this like setup of the kitchen multiple times.
I've seen that in the army.
Yeah. but same thing with like when you go to Claire's house, like I've seen probably 10. The kitchen was probably my most favorite thing to look at because I always see her in the kitchen, like making a video. So like
she opens the fridge. What?
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, I'm in the kitchen. But so like for Tyler's house, like, whoa, I'm in Tyler's basement. Where's that Mustang? It's a Mustang, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, where's the Mustang? So just to see like fellow content creators, friends that you see online, whether that's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, you see their background, their setup, their collection, and then to physically see that on top of it, I think is a different level, which is also cool and unique in comparison to like a friend that I know that collects Lego. I don't see it ever. This is cool too, but it doesn't resonate the same as I've been watching your videos, your content, your photos for like years, and now finally seeing it. If that makes sense. Like I think it's for your uncle, you see it all the time. It's a different kind of hit. Like that's technically your setup. But if Tyler were to come over, or if we were to go check out your stuff, because we've seen the videos, we've seen the setups we set up, we're like, if I see the garage, I'm probably gonna be amazed that I'm watching the garage. Like, oh, this is all the bins that are laid out everywhere. I've seen this driveway multiple times. This is cool to actually see the driveway. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just another thing that I wanted to bring up. It's like you're watching, if anyone ever goes to Universal Studios out here in Hollywood, going to the back lot where Back to the Future is like set up. It's like, whoa, this is where the movie was taking place. So if you ever go, that type of stuff, I think it's very, very fascinating.
It's more exciting than, I guess, like a tourist landmark. Like you see the Eiffel Tower in a photo and you just kind of go there and you stare at it for a bit. It's like, okay, next place, and keep moving on.
Yeah, right. So maybe one day we'll see it. I mean, does he ever share his stuff at Chicago?
No, he's never has. I kind of was pushing him to this. Yeah, we should do it. He goes, dude, we are gonna spend $20,000 on tables. That's what he said. Because for him it was like, I'm not gonna just bring like a table. I want to bring everything. Like it's all or nothing. So
I'm sure you could talk to Mark and like get something happening. I think it's if you're not able to share it in a way like a warehouse or anything like that, I think just even a small collection of something is still pretty cool to see, especially if it's something that's done well for you, like visually. Right. It's like, whoa, this is cool. I finally
best layout award.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's a
biggest layout award.
Because like real estate, right? Like going horizontals was expensive, right? So I was like, if we just get one base plate high and just stack all the way to like the ceiling. Like that would be so different.
I think that'll be one hell of a flex. That'll be one funny video. Like, how many base plate clones can we put on this 1 4x7 table? Right. Just stack them high.
But even better, you like make it in the shape of a clone.
Oh, that's going above and beyond.
That's great. That'll be sick, though. Not gonna lie. You probably have enough figure base to do that. Not to guess forever. Oh my god.
I don't know how you do the arms, but you should work it out. Or you just like the helmet. It's shaped in the shape of a helmet.
You could do those. I've seen a lot of people do those like mosaic type things with just the minifigures. Right. Like using the clones as a shape of the clone, just not on a base plate. You just do that. See, you have all this at your disposal.
Stick them on white base plates to blend it in with the color scheme. You could use the different legions to like make the eye.
Do different colors. Oh man! All right. We're getting too far. We're getting too far. So we didn't really get to talk about other things we kind of want to get into, which is good because that means we would probably ask you to come back. So we're gonna put a hard stop right here, and then like just kind of ask you like, what are your goals now for your channel, or what you plan on doing in general, I guess.
Two of my top goals, 100,000 subscribers. That was the goal from when I started. Like that's my goal. I want that plaque. I wanted me and that plaque a date. To the Bahamas, wherever. Back to Greece, wherever. Just I want that. Like it's just been a goal. I think it's extraordinary. People that do it, all props to you. It's definitely up there. And then the other one would be to not make it like a full-time job, but to do it full-time, and then that way I don't have to work, for somebody else because I don't want to do that, right? But I want to do this full time because I enjoy it, and then I can focus on some of my other investment stuff, and fund out. So I think that would be my top 2 goals there.
You have the ability to do that and the resources too. So hopefully you take advantage of it and hope to see more of that type of content.
Yeah, so I want to travel more, and go to more conventions. I haven't done enough, and that's going to use the excuse of working full time, right? You're limited, so
you have at least you're right next to Chicago,
right? Yeah, that I don't have an
that.
excuse for that one. I don't have an excuse.
Yeah, you have zero excuse not to be there, especially this upcoming one that's about to happen. The hype for it is like getting more like crazier every week as it gets closer.
I have a countdown on my little stream deck whenever I'm live. I'm like, oh, 40 days.
My
stuff's notification
back
on my Qantas app yesterday. Oh, 5 weeks until check-in. I'm like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Let's go.
So I guess we'll see you there.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Woo!
Holly, do you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, but besides the fact that you should follow Stud City if you haven't already, so you can get him to 100,000.
Yes.
And also, thank you for having me as a guest host, Cali Brick Clique. I had a lot of fun.
Thanks, Holly.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Christo. Appreciate both of you.
Thank
Holly,
you.
You want to roll us out? Do you know how to do that?
No, I don't know how to do that. I mean,
you pay attention to the very end. That shows you didn't watch the very end. I'm just
I
kidding.
do watch the very end. Do you want to see my
All you got to say is just roll that music.
Okay. Well, in that case, there we go. Just roll that music.
Have a night, everybody. Peace. Thank you. That was cool.
My impersonation of the
Yeah, that works. That works. We lost Ninja. I think his thing.